Hey everyone, and welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are diving into a technique that is, no joke, a total game changer. It's going to make your API tests way more powerful and literally save you hours of painful debugging.
You know the feeling, right? You kick off your test suite feeling good, and then half of it is red. You dig in, ready to find a massive bug, but no, it's just that the backend team added a new optional field, or, my favorite, changed an ID from an integer to a string. Your tests are brittle, and frankly, it's a massive waste of your time. So on the left, you've got the old way. Assert this field, assert that field, check if this other field exists, line after line. It's fragile and a pain to maintain. But on the right, that's the smart way. One single, elegant line of code that validates the entire structure of the response. That's what we're talking about today.
So how do we make that leap? Well, we stop thinking like we're just spot checking a few values. Instead, we start enforcing what I like to call an ironclad contract. And this isn't about learning a new tool, it's about a complete shift in how you approach API validation. To really get it, think of it like this. It's basically a customs checkpoint for all the data coming into your system. Every API response is like a package arriving at the border. Before we let it in, it has to go through a rigorous inspection.
In this analogy, the API response is the package, and the declaration form that it has to match perfectly, that's our JSON schema. This form states exactly what's supposed to be in the package, the format of every item, and which items are non-negotiable. If the package shows up and it doesn't match the form to the letter, it's rejected. Instantly, no questions asked. So that declaration form has an official name, JSON schema. You can think of it as the official blueprint for your API's data. It defines the structure, the required fields, the data types, everything. It becomes the single source of truth that both the back-end team building the API and the front-end team using it can agree on. Okay, so that's the what, but let's get to the why. Why should you drop what you're doing and implement this? Because I promise you, this will save you a ridiculous amount of time and stop so many bugs from ever seeing the light of day. Let's talk real-world impact. First, this is your ultimate defense against regressions. If a developer accidentally changes a user ID from a number to a string, your schema validation test fails the build right away. Second, it guarantees data integrity. Your app gets predictable data every single time. And third, you can say goodbye to those horrible debugging sessions where the app is crashing for some mysterious reason. The schema failure tells you exactly what went wrong and where. Trust me on this. When you catch a bug that would have brought down production before it even gets to the QA environment, your future self is going to be very happy. And your product manager, they'll be thrilled. All right, enough theory. Let's get our hands dirty and see what this actually looks like in code. You're going to be surprised by how clean and simple this is to implement. The whole process is really just 5 simple steps. You get the schema file, you pick a library that can read it, you make your API call, you run the validation, and you check if it passed. That's it. Let's look at 2 examples.
First up, for all you Java folks, we're going to use a library you probably already know and love. Rest assured, it has this functionality built right in.
Okay, just look at how clean that is. We make our GET request, we check for a 200 status code, and then that's it. 1 line. .body matches JSON schema and class path. That single method does all the heavy lifting. It finds your schema file, parses it, and validates the entire response body against that contract. It's powerful, it's readable, it's just plain smart. Now let's not leave the Python developers out. The gold standard in the Python world is a fantastic little library simply called JSON Schema. The Python way is just as powerful. You make your request, you load your schema definition, and then you call the validate function. Now, the magic here is that this function doesn't just return true or false. If anything is wrong, a missing field, a wrong data type, you name it, it throws a validation error, and your test fails immediately with a clear message telling you what's broken. Now, while this is pretty easy to set up, there are a couple of classic traps that almost everyone falls into at first. So let's talk about them so you can skip the learning curve. So what's the #1 rookie mistake? The one that I'd say 90% of people make? It's thinking that checking a few values here and there is good enough. It is not. First mistake, only using JSON path checks. This gives you a false sense of security. You might confirm the user's ID as 123, but you'll completely miss that their creation date just changed from a string to an integer, which is the kind of thing that crashes apps. The second big one, trusting the documentation blindly. Docs get out of date, it's called documentation drift. The only thing you should trust is the canonical schema file that the developers themselves are using. Okay, you know what not to do. Now let's talk about what the top 1% of QA engineers are doing. These are the practices that take your testing from just good to truly bulletproof. First, make this mandatory. This isn't a nice to have. Every single successful API response in your test suite should have a schema validation check, period. Second, be smart and reuse your work. Define common objects like user or address once, and then reference them in your other schemas. And third, and this is the real pro-level tip, validate your error responses too. Your 400 bad request should have a predictable structure just like your 200 OK. This makes your app's error handling rock solid.
Wow, okay, we've covered a lot of ground. Let's boil it all down. If you walk away remembering just a few things from this, make it these.
Here are your 3 core takeaways. Number 1, the JSON schema is the contract. Treat it as the unbreakable source of truth. 2, this is your absolute best weapon against regressions from unexpected API changes. And 3, this isn't just for the happy path. A truly robust test suite validates the structure of all responses, success and error alike. And that's it. I'm serious when I say if you master this one technique, you are putting yourself ahead of the vast majority of engineers out there. It is a simple concept with a massive impact. Thanks for watching The Explainer. Now go make your tests unbreakable.